you so much. I have to agree with Steve. This is an amazing space, and Hilton Worldwide is not just a sponsor for Point Foundation. They are actually partners of ours, and we really appreciate the support we get from them. With Phil, and I also want to thank John Munoz, who's here tonight, John Forrest-Dales, and also Brian Curran, who is also here. I was asked just to say just a few very brief words about Point so you understand where your money's going tonight. I know we're here to all see Steve sing, and I can't wait to hear that myself. But just so you know, Point Foundation is the largest LGBT scholarship fund in the country. And what we do is we give scholarship financial support to our scholars. We give them a mentor because a lot of them have been rejected by their families, been kicked out of the house, do not have the financial support of their families. Let me just take this moment, by the way, as I'm talking about this, to acknowledge again and give a big round of applause to Steve's family, who is all here tonight. Have to come out in their own journey, but then our families have to come out and figure that out for themselves, and that's a difficult journey for all of us to go through, and it still gets me dewy-eyed when I see P-Flag go by, Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays at the Gay Pride Parade every year, so thank you so much for the support you give to Steve. So unfortunately, our scholars don't necessarily have that same kind of support, which is why this money is important. So it's the scholarship, it's the mentoring, and the last thing we do for our scholars is we give them a leadership conference where we bring all of our scholars together for a big weekend where they learn about financial planning and gay history and how to be an activist in the community. So we're really training the leaders of tomorrow. These are extremely impressive people. And I don't know if Steve's here, still in the room yet or not, but Steve is eligible for a Point scholarship. If he wants to apply for one, he could probably get an MFA or something in music if he wanted to. So that's what we do for our scholars. In return, we ask them to maintain a 3.3, and we ask them to do a community service project. And this is why we're really training our future leaders. These are kids, I guarantee you, who will be pop stars someday, who will be lawyers, doctors. We have one who's the mayor of Holyoke, New York. We have these young people who are truly going to be the leaders who are going to be standing up for us when they're our age. So the money that you give tonight is really supporting the future leaders of our community, and we really appreciate anything that you can give. But the people who are much better equipped and much more persuasive at telling the story of our Point Foundation scholars is a Point scholar. So I have one here with me tonight. I'd like to introduce him. He's going to briefly tell his story, and if you're so moved, perhaps when you're on the way out, you'll pick up an envelope and give us some money to help support other Point scholars. I'd like to bring up an alumni from Point Foundation, Kevin Ferenchak.
For many of you who don't know what Point Foundation is, it is the national scholarship for gay and lesbian students of merit. These are my friends, these are people who are not my family, who have been marginalized in some pretty significant ways due to their sexual orientation. Me personally, I had to leave home early in my senior year of high school. Things were just really bad with my family. I was attacked when I was 12 because I wouldn't take pictures of the girls on my swim team, so my friends figured out that something was a little weird, and I was held down on the ground, I was stomped on, I was kicked, and I was in the hospital for a week. I had fractures in my skull, clotted arteries on my brain, and I had brain surgery, all kinds of stuff. The good thing is that probably sent me on the right track towards medical school, which I'm now in my last year. It got better a long time ago, and a big part of that was Point Foundation. I think something that Steve's song really speaks to is the viral nature. There are so many gay movements. Everyone changing their profile picture on Facebook to support marriage equality. Songs with a great message. It gets better. Rebecca Black. Not that. There's so much in the gay community that the internet really speaks to. And me personally, when I was coming out and when I was leaving home, I knew I was going to college. Nothing was going to stop me. Nothing. My parents telling me that God hated me, they didn't care about me, I was going to die of AIDS. That wasn't going to stop me. I Googled gay scholarship. First thing that came up, really the only thing that came up back then, was the Point Foundation. And I went through, I was a very good student. I skipped a class for the first time, and I snuck into the library in high school, and I just read every single scholar story. And there weren't as many then as there are now. There's almost 200 now, alums and scholars. But hearing about all these people who were going through what I was going through, they'd gone through that, and they had come through on the other side, and they were successful. They were leaders in the community, and they were happy. That was something that I never thought that I could have, happiness. But I have it now. I have an amazing boyfriend of 3 years, Patrick. He's sticking out. And I also have the Point Foundation. Point Foundation has been there for me since even before I was a scholar. And when I applied, I did my undergrad at Loyola University, Chicago. And I applied, and just the process of meeting all the people of the scholar selection and making all the friends when I actually became a scholar and just a nationwide connection, it's huge. And Point Foundation picks people who have gone through all this stuff, but also are moving forward and can come through and can leave the marginalization behind, but remember the hurt and the sting, and be positive role models for those who, you know, are skipping class in Lake Forest, Illinois, to see other people who are doing that, see how are they going to pay for college when their parents have kicked them out, when their parents sent them to northern Minnesota for straight camp. That was me. And I really couldn't be here without Point Foundation. I wouldn't be on the right track in medical school if I hadn't met people who I met through Point Foundation. Point Foundation is wrapped up in every element of my life. I met Patrick when I was out with friends with Point Foundation, with another Point scholar. It's everything. I would like to thank all of you for supporting it. I'd like to thank Steve for making a great song in Hilton, for generous support.